Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you are all doing well and enjoying your day so far, and a number of things to run through today. Tomorrow, that being Monday, February 22nd, whatever it is, that is the start of the Super Week, so much stuff to cover this week. But yesterday, the Challengers Cup was going on in the North American and the other regions. Lots of questions once again about the cheating situation, but Simp comes out and once again defying some of the amateur opinion in the community. We saw a while ago when the AK-47 was good, a lot of the amateurs said, okay, it's super strong, and Simp was like, okay, it's not actually as strong as you think. Turns out it was pretty strong and it ended up getting GA'd from the professional side, but also now these cheating accusations come out and Simp doesn't think there is too much merit behind them. Intrigued to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, I just wanted to mention this again because there's been a lot of discussion these last few days about the XM4. As Scump says, when is it getting nerfed then? No signs of this on the horizon as yet. Certainly a lot of pros would argue the strongest weapon in the meta at the present time. Will it ever get nerfed? Will it get GA'd? Who really knows? I doubt a GA will happen at this point, given the preset classes are now thankfully in the game, so the pros have a pretty hard time going back on those. But yeah, certainly an XM4 nerf could be on the horizon. Who really knows exactly what the track and the guys are thinking over there, but a lot of the times they base the nerfs and buffs based on what people are using in public matches, and maybe the XM4 isn't quite as dominant there as it seems to be in competitive play, but something to certainly keep your eyes on. This then from the European Challengers Cup, so PT & Co, Dave & Co, etc. Those teams have made it to top 8 on the day one of the performances, and well, typically when these Challenger Cups go on, there are some questions regarding the players involved, and well, are there some cheating accusations on the line? There always tends to be. So before we get into that, wanted to mention some very interesting news here from Cronin at CDL Intel. Sources say Hydra of the New York Subliners has secured his visa, and if everything goes to plan, he'll be leaving France next month. So well, if this is the case, this is great news for, well, us, I suppose, as Call of Duty fans, to finally see what this Hydra guy is capable of. People have been talking about him as like the French phenom, the French simp, I suppose, and in some of these, well, Challenger Cups, he has been absolutely frying in terms of the European teams that he has been playing with so far. And the Subliners in a bit of a difficult spot. We'll have to see how their stage 1 finishes off. This week they do not have the easiest run of matches. They play the Dallas Empire, they play Minnesota Rokkr. They don't have the easiest run. We'll look at that a little bit later today, and of course in tomorrow and the other videos that follow. But well, certainly you can look at a guy like Hydra and say, well, Subliners need this guy's talent on the team. That's why they signed him in the first place. That's why Clayster & Co wanted to get him in the team at the time. And now you've got this kind of interesting squad with Mac, Diamond, Con and Asim on the team in addition to Clayster, who potentially steps outright because Mac hasn't been looking so good as of late, but in theory maybe Mac's even a better slightly flex player, so maybe Diamond Con, I don't know, who really knows. Diamond Con's been looking really good though, so I imagine it's somewhat between Mac and Asim, and of course Asim has been looking pretty good on the SMG. Mac has been a little bit questionable, right, so Hydra may be stepping into that role. Be really interesting to see how these next few matches come about, because definitely I think if Subliners continue to struggle here in stage 1, they're going to be looking to make some sort of roster change, and the obvious one is if they can bring Hydra in from the bench, it's going to be a really exciting prospect because there's so many potential Rookie of the Year candidates this year. Hydra might be another one. Great to see him, well, hopefully get his opportunity to get to the States as soon as possible. I'm not sure Zero is in quite the situation because I think the Hydra was able to get like an interview for it and figure it out, but right now like only emergency visas are being accepted, Zero was saying, so it's super tough to get an interview, so I think that Zero's is still several months away, maybe even at this point, which means Parasite might have a longer opportunity in the team. Speaking of Parasite, actually, Crone also mentioned this, in the process of putting together a full list of every player's controller preference and settings, so this is what Parasite uses and some of the other players are replying to this. I'll leave a link down below if you guys would like to check everything out, but as he says, 6.6.9 dynamic standard claw tactical Xbox One stick for aim, that is, well, what you're meant to use, and well, the first 0.9 I've seen so far, everyone else is on 6.6 1.0, so if you guys are kind of wondering what the pros are using, this seems to be what Parasite and some of the other pros are going down the line of so far. This I thought was cool as well. If the seeding stopped at the current time and there were no matches this upcoming week, this is what the bracket would look like. Now, of course, this is going to change quite significantly, but I thought it was still certainly interesting to look at. That we would have Ultra v Empire, then the winner of that would play the LA Thieves, Rokkr versus Chicago, then the winner of that plays FaZe. So this is how it looks like right now. As you can see, there's 2 buys in the winners bracket, there's 2 buys in the losers bracket, and this is how it would play out right now. A lot to change, of course, but if you guys weren't fully familiar with the format, this is the bracket we are looking at for the major in a few weeks' time from now. Let's talk about this hacker situation then. So Azuma says, love League Play hackers and S&D all day, right? So hopping onto League Play on a PC, there's a decent chance you're going to run into hackers, and Search and Destroy all day is not necessarily the most fun thing in the world. Overkill and smoke grenades as well also don't make it particularly enjoyable. But at the same time, there was the Challengers Cup, and every time this stuff goes on, the Challengers Elite has kind of come to the end for the first stage. Those are like the top 8 teams in the world where no one's really hacking on those teams, you would at least hope at the very least. But in the Challenger Cups, when everyone can play, there's certainly certainly some questionable clips that come out every single time. These are the top 8 teams that made it to top 8 for day 2 of the Challengers Cup, and there were certainly some pretty significant accusations going around. As Glowfrosty says over at the Subliners, hey yo, that precise kid is the greatest. Awakening's like, yo, you guys getting hacked on? I don't know, to be honest. I go see his records and he gets 100 points every cup he's played in. Now he plays my team and he's 40 plus, 12 kills and search and destroy. How did this kid get dead last every other cup, and now he's turned out and be an absolute god tier player? So, you know, sometimes you don't have the greatest performances in a row. Now you turn up and seem to be godlike, then yeah, people start asking questions. But supposedly this guy maybe was okay. As Fame says, GG's Precise & Co. 1-3-0 a top 16. For anyone thinking he was cheating, I don't know. He just played really well individually despite the loss. Thanks, brother. GG's. And this was not the end of the story, of course, for the day, as it never tends to be. There was this clip that came out from Cruz. Pretty interesting stuff. This guy called Prodigy, I think they were playing it against. We'll have a look at it in just a second here. But this clip right here, you can see on raids, I mean, the way he pauses it makes it look maybe more suspicious than it should be. He's kind of looking through the wall at this guy. But the way that after Cruz unpauses it, like he kind of keeps his aim looking at where this guy is trying to jump out the window, is a little bit suspect. And then the clip, the snap that you can see right here as well, is also a little bit interesting. But yeah, theatre mode always does make things look a little bit strange. So maybe he did see him there and like did snap naturally. So it's somewhat tough to say. But yeah, I'll play the clip real quick.
To show, yeah.
Like, this guy's just he's literally bot walking across driveway. Like, I don't know, dude.
So where he's looking is exactly where I'm standing. Because I'm in the window. I'm literally in the window ledge. Like, look at the lineup.
And who just stares at a wall? I don't know.
Perfect. Literally staring at me through the wall. Look at that. And then now he's looking towards the left. Snaps there. He didn't even see me. Bro, what?
But Simp is certainly not convinced that there's anything dodgy going on. As he says, you accusing my IRL's team of cheating. So like one of these guys that he's playing against on Prodigy's team is actually, an in real life friend of Simp. And he says, look, you've got to have more than this. The top, the right half of top AMs look like cheaters with their awareness and where they look. You deadass just paused it at something that normal people do. I'm just doing what I believe is right. If you played an extremely important tournament and you felt you lost unfairly, you would be doing the same thing. There are a lot of things that do not add up. It is up to the admins who are at in game battles and stuff in this. But as Simp says, do you do this with the other AMs that have sus gameplay? Anything suspect goes on, do you actually call that out? Or just the ones that don't have big names, right, and aren't yet big names in the amateur scene? This is something you do certainly see from time to time, that amateurs that like have a reputation, have been around quite a while, they're, if they have a dodgy clip, they're gonna, it's gonna be excused. It's gonna be, okay, things happen. Sometimes in theatre, things look dodgy. Sometimes it looks like you're looking through the wall at someone, but really you're just pre-aiming another spot that you think someone might come from. On occasion, like, coincidences happen and it looks like dodgy things are going on, even though they might not actually be. And when a player has a reputation for being around a while, then those things are going to get excused. But if you're like a new player that's just on the scene, that's maybe not had greatest results the previous cups, all of a sudden now you're a god, then questions are going to be asked, right? So that's kind of what Simp is getting at here. And Crew says also not accusing the team of cheating, just one of the players on the team easily could have been doing it without the other's knowledge. I appreciate you trying to back your friend up, but I think some of these clips are definitely worth looking at. I get that, says Simp, but I'm telling you, I've seen more suspect stuff from some of these AMs placing top 8 and better. That clip is awful because of when you paused it. So really interesting stuff. As Cruz says as well, watching hacker proof in 4K from the Challengers Cup. And Morks comes out as well with a few clips, as he says right here, more clips coming from, I think it was Anthrax or something, as the team that they ended up losing to in their matchup. And some of the stuff that he does right here, you can see it as pretty dodgy from certain perspectives as well. So yeah, certainly it's really interesting. Every single time these things happen, there's always hacking accusations that come out, and it's super difficult. I can't imagine trying to be a GB admin and policing this, right? Because some of these clips certainly look dodgy. People are looking through walls, people are making plays they wouldn't really make otherwise, but at the same time, can you absolutely prove 100% that anything dodgy is going on here? It's really tough to say, and you really don't want to be like ousting someone from the scene that actually is just incredibly talented and has elite game sense, because it's possible. You look at a guy like Awakening now that's in the highest tier of professional play. He was out of control with his game sense and awareness last year, so much so that people actually thought he was hacking in pro play. I don't believe that's the case. I think he's just absolutely nasty at the game. There's other kids like Awakening that are going to come up with incredible awareness, but at the same time, there were some players who are just like super dodgy, right, and are actually abusing some, whatever's going on. So, I don't know, it's a crazy situation to have to deal with. As Mohawk says as well, lost to this guy in 2 S&Ds. Anthrax is dropping 15 every S&D, shooting everyone in the back. Been playing S&D at the highest level in 3 years. Never seen anyone as smart as this guy. guy. And what he's saying here is in the hard points, this guy's getting absolutely bodied. He's shooting these people in the back, like Mohawk and Co are absolutely destroying Thrax and the boys. But in Search and Destroy, this Anthrax guy, he's dropping 15. He's absolutely out of control. And maybe that you can make the argument that in Search and Destroy, then it's easier to wall hack or use whatever other hacks you're trying to use. But in Respawn, you kind of just play it normally. So I don't know. It's somewhat difficult to say. Mohawk made an interesting point here actually about it's not just the wall hacks that are the issue. It's actually this like 2D radar thing. So basically, you just have your radar always on or something to that effect, which gives you an indication of where the enemies are, but is somewhat more, it's easier to hide, let's say, than wall hacks. Because if you have wall hacks, then you may accidentally, like, if you're, trying to hide the fact that you have wall hacks, look at someone through the wall, but maybe you do it accidentally and you get a clip like Cruise's clip, for example. But if you just have a 2D radar on, you can't actually see them through the wall, you just kind of know where they are all the time, which means it's less likely to get caught, I suppose. Catching someone with a radar is much harder to do. I mean, crazy stuff. As Joey says, all the amateur scene needed was PCs to come into the equation. Really brought out some absolutely unreal talents, some absolutely unreal hackers as well. And I'm sure some people are doing it, but it's super difficult to tell who is doing it and who is not, and a really tough situation for all of us to deal with at the present time. Just thought I'd finish off with this, a lovely little video that Round 11 Stats put together yesterday over at GG Breaking Point. Your boy on the microphone as per usual, but this is behind the sights episode 2. Definitely want to get into some more of this like analytical type stuff. I think certainly over the next few years, these like analytical breakdowns will become like a massive thing in Call of Duty. Certainly hope that the league pushes in that direction as well. Back in the day, they used to have like the, Riven would be sitting there on the board, he'd be drawing up exactly where the players were going and stuff. And this is a breakdown of Kenny's 1v3 ace versus the New York Subliners at the opening weekend. So yeah, thought I'd leave it linked down below if you guys would like to check it out and do sub to the channel and all that good stuff. Approaching, I think, 2,000 subscribers on that channel, so not bad at all. Enjoyed to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. It really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and upgrade the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always, take care, and I will see you next time.